Good morning, all of you. Can everybody hear me?
Good morning, madam.
Thank you, Nadisha. I hope the others also can hear me. So y'all have joined to the reading stage one, the English medium session, and I'm Shivanti. I'll be conducting you the session today. Right? I'll share the slides first. Let's see what we are going to look at in this session. So basically, since it's a stage one session, I'm sorry. Since it's a stage one session, we will be going through the test format for you to understand what parts you will have to do in reading and how it's done everything. And we will be going through the marking allocation as well, right? To for you to understand how many marks are given. So the priority is this, and how many questions we'll be looking at. So those are the main concerns today in this session, and we'll be going through each and every component and understanding how to complete them in the tool and in the exam as well. Like I said, in the table of contents, we have the test format today and marking allocation on tasks, and then we will be going through each section to see how to complete them. And from the among the components you have, we prioritize two components. You will understand the reason why in a while, right? So, and we will be learning before the end of the session, we will be learning the techniques to be used for those two important components. So, test format is this. Now, this test format, if this is your first time taking a stage one session, you might not have access to test format and the marking allocation grid yet, right? But once I mark the attendance within 24 hours time, you'll have access to both in your classroom. I'll show you where you can find it as well after a while. So looking at the test format of the whole PT test, we have to do the test in three parts. So part one will have speaking and writing components, whereas part three will be about reading and sorry, part two will be about reading and part three will be about listening. We're not looking at part one or three today as the session is about reading. So we'll look at part two, right? So within these 2 hours, you'll be completing all these three parts. And part two, the time you'll be spending there is maximum 30 minutes. That is half an hour. Within that 30 minutes, you're going to complete all these components that is listed here. There are 5 component types: fill in the blanks, reading and writing, multiple choice, multiple answer, reorder paragraph, fill in the blanks, reading. This is also known as the drag and drop component. And finally, the multiple choice, single answer. So all these 5 components come in the same order. This is the same order that you will get the question. So you know the order, so you can be prepared, right? Like I said, there are two important ones that we list here. Uh, within these 5 components, these two are known to be important. Now, when you check the marking grid, you'll understand as to why they are important. But just keep in your head, in reading, both fill in the blanks components are uh, important, and you will have to give more time to them going forward. Let's go to the, before we go to marking grid, I'll talk about the time. If you have taken speaking or writing, or in that case of listening as well, before this reading stage one session, you might know that you get separate timers for each component, especially for speaking. You get a timer when you go to a new question, right? So you get separate timers. Same for writing as well. But in reading, that's not the case. You don't get separate timers per question or per component. You get a single timer for the whole part. You get a 30-minute timer and it is going in the descending order, where in that time, within that 30 minutes, you'll have to complete all these 5 components. That's the rule. You will not be getting a separate time of a fill in the blanks and a separate time of a multiple choice, multiple answer whatsoever. Right? It's going to be one single timer and you'll be using it for the whole part. Right. So now let's go to marking guide. But before I go, there's another student in the waiting room. So let me take this student as well. Hmm. Okay. Is in. Let's go. Right. I hope you can see the screen now because I shared it again. Let's go to marking allocation. If not the marks allocation grid. Now you can see the grid has all the 20 components that you'll be completing in the PT test. But we're not going to look at everything. We will be looking at only the reading components. Before we go check reading components, you can see the grid is divided into 4 colors: red zone, orange zone, yellow zone, and the green zone. Now, if you look closely and carefully, you will realize why they have been colored. Now, for example, in the red zone, if you compare and see, you have the components with the highest marks in the whole PT test. And in the orange zone, you have the second highest marks. In yellow zone, it's more of like a very average amount of marks. And in the green zone, you have very small amount of marks, like less number. The number is less, right? So the reason why we have color divided this is for you to realize that these components have a big weightage, so you can understand the priority level when you go do each question, right? A little announcement: please keep your microphones muted, right? That will be helpful when we do the session. You will get a time to ask questions. That time you can unmute. Right. Coming back to where we were. So we were looking at the marks allocation grid and we've talked about why it is divided into 4 color zones and the purpose of it. Now, like I said, we are not going to look at all the 20 components. So let me highlight only the reading ones. So we have reading, fill in the blanks over here. And we have reading and writing, fill in the blanks is the first one in the red zone. Now in the orange zone, we have the reading, fill in the blanks. And we have reorder paragraph over here. Right after that, we have multiple choice, multiple answer, and then multiple choice, single answer here. Now I told you these two were the important ones. Now you can see why. Because they give you the most marks. So priority level should be given to these two first. So talking about reading and writing, fill in the blanks, you can see the total will be 44.4. Normally you will have 5 questions, but sometimes, like it happens rarely, not all the time, you can have room for a 6th question as well. But it's the maximum amount of questions you will be getting is 6, not more than that. But 5 for sure. The compulsory amount is 5. Now in PTE, there's something called cross marking. I'm sure that you know already what it is. Cross marking is where you get marks for all the skills you used in completing a particular component. Now, just like the name suggests, this is reading and writing fill in the blank. So you'll be using both your reading and writing skills. So you get 22.3 for writing, 22.1 for reading. The total is 44.4. Now, even if you get 5 questions or 6, the total will be the same. Based on the question amount, the total won't be changing. right? Only the question amount will change, but the total will stay the same. And when it comes to reading and reading fill in the blanks, also known as the drag and drop question, the total is 14.8. You normally or compulsorily will have 4 questions, but there can be room for a fifth one as well. Now, if you have 6 questions in reading and writing fill in the blanks, no way you'll be getting 5 here as well. It will be balanced out anyways, right? In reading fill in the blanks, of course, you have no cross marking, just the reading skills will be used. So the total of 14.8 will be coming from reading itself. And then you have reorder paragraph. 5.9, the total. Normally you have 2 questions, no cross marking there. There can be room for a third question as well. That depends on the other amount of questions you get, but not all the time. It's very rare. And then we have a multiple choice, multiple answer with 3 marks for 1 question, no cross marking. And half of it is going to multiple choice single answer, which is 1.1, 1.5 for 1 question. So that's about the marking grid, students. I hope that you have a basic idea about how the marking going to be and how the prioritization should make. Right? Let's go to the next slide. Now, these are the 5 components you'll be completing in the same order, and you have 2 ticks for the ones that are very important. Now, why do we tell these 2 are important? Because you need to give priority to them. Because as you can see, in the order, now the first one you have been saved already because it's the first component. You can take a good amount of time and finish it. But if you use more time in these 2, I'm sorry, let's go back. If you use more time in these 2, this one and this one, you might not have enough time for this one, which is an important task, right? So knowing how to manage time will be helpful now that you know the 2 main components in reading. But in stage 1, don't really worry about the timing. That you will get to know when you go to the next step, which is the reading review session. Right now, I am going to take you to my PT Labs tool because we need to know how to complete each of these components. Right, let me share my screen. Okay, there we go. We are in the PT Labs tool. This is how it would look when you log in using your Gmail. And we'll click on reading. As you can see, all the 5 components are there in the same order. Let's go one by one. So this is reading and writing fill in the blanks. Once you click on it, you will go to a space like this. So you have to click on start practicing. This is how the question would look like, right? You have a text. You have a text and there are blanks in it. The blanks have a drop down. Now you have the instructions over here, the text over here, and the next button over here. Now this will be the exact same way you get the question in exam as well. It's the same interface, just that you don't have this check button in the exam. You don't have this question number portal here or the timer. Now I told you there won't be any separate timers, right? Any separate timers per question, but why does it have here? That is because this is the training platform where we get you to practice questions. So our aim is for you to complete one of these questions in 2 minutes. That's how you're going to save time. So when you have 5 minutes, 5 questions, 2 minutes per question would give you 10 minutes for the whole component. Yeah, so our idea is to get you to practice and finish one question within 2 minutes. That's why it's there, right? Not because you'll get it in the exam. In the exam, you have your instructions. the text and the next button. That is all. Now, like I told you, in these blanks, there's nothing for you to write, but your spellings, knowledge, and everything will be tested and will be giving the marks for writing. For the blank, you have a drop down. So what you're gonna do is you read the text and the blank and select the answer. Now, just like this, I'm not gonna read it, but I'm gonna just put answers. My time is also over. I checked it. So see, one of my answers went wrong. That is proportion. So I put balance. So it showed in red to me. All the correct answers I got are in blue and no change to them. But the wrong one I got is marked from red and given the correct answer. So when you also practice, you can use the check button to check your answers. That's a self-assessment you do there. And you can retry also if you wish to, and then you can go practice all these questions once you start practicing. Let's go to multiple choice, multiple answer. Now, this is the same as what you know about multiple choice, right? You have the text over here, your instructions over here, the question you should be getting answers for, and 4 answer options, and the next button. Again, this or this won't be available in your exam interface, right? That is for learning purposes. But these will be available, right? So what you have to do here is you read the instructions. It says you will need to select more than one response, obviously multiple choice, multiple answers, no? And then you read the question, you go read the text and get the answer for the question, and you can check. Now see, there are 3 correct answers, but I've got only 2. Now what happens? Do I get a 0? No, I don't get a 0 since 2 of my answers are correct. I will get marks that is dedicated for those 2. It will not be the full amount, but I'll get some amount of questions. Now let's say that I take all. And when I click call, anyways, I have clicked 3 of answers and 1 extra, 1 wrong answer. Now what happens? Do I get a 0? No, not really. Again, not a 0. But for having an extra answer, you're going to get a penalty. You get minus marks here in reading multiple choice, multiple answer. But that will not affect you that bad because the total you get here is 3 marks, right? So that's about multiple choice, multiple answer. I'll take you to multiple choice, single answer right away because it's more or less the same thing. The only difference is you will not be picking more than one answer. You'll be picking only one response, right? So you read the question, you read the text and get the answer. And you can get it checked here as well. Now, of course, if the answer is wrong here, then you got no marks, yeah? There won't be any minus marking whatsoever here. And then we'll go to reorder paragraph. Just like the name suggests, it's reordering a paragraph. The sentences in a paragraph will be jumbled for you to order them again. When ordering, you can, move your sentence parts from this side to that side and up and down as well. I'll do one and show you like this. Or you can move from here again, start arranging like this as well. And we check, so you can check, you can compare your answer with the correct answer for learning purposes, right? Let me erase what I drew. And we go to the next one, fill in the blanks. This is what you saw as reading fill in the blanks. It is also known as the drag and drop questions. You will know why. That's because of the way that you have to do it. You have your instructions over here, the text with blanks, and then a word list and your next button. Right now, like reading and writing fill in the blanks, you don't have a drop down, but a list of words. So you're supposed to drag this word and drop it in the correct place like this. Again, students, I'm not reading, I'm just doing it for you to see. Okay, now you can check it. So when you want to take a word back to the word list, that also is doable, right? You can put them and then take them back. Sometimes change this into this as well. Anything. And then you check everything apart from one is wrong. Obviously, I didn't read, right? So the wrong ones will be shown in red and the correct one will just be in blue. So you can check. Again, you don't have a separate timer in exam. This is just for training purposes because we expect you to finish one question within 3 minutes. So that's how you do all these components, right? Now I told you we need to understand the technique to be used for the most important components. Let's get back to the slides. What is the technique? Now in reading, we don't have any short methods or any sneaky ways. It's going to be the same way that you do a normal reading question, that is by understanding the context. You know what context means? Context means what it tells the story in it, right? So understanding the context will be your main technique when it comes to all the reading components, especially for the fill in the blanks ones. Without realizing what it is talking about, you will not be able to fill the blanks. So understanding what the text is talking about is the crucial part here. I have an example over here. This is a real exam question. We took it from the tool. So here's a text with the blank. We are focusing on the first blank. Egg-eating snakes are a small group of snakes whose consist only of eggs. Now, when you read it, you have to understand the whole text is talking about eating habits, and this particularly about an eating habits of this egg-eating snakes. So you look at the four answer options, and you obviously can kick this out because you have to have a noun here, but this is not a noun. From these three, it's easy to pick this because of the context. You don't even have to consider them just because they are nouns. The answer is diet because the sentence or the text is discussing about this particular animal, and this line is talking about eating habits. So once you get the context in your head, it's easy to pick the answer. Same way, we'll do another question. This particular question, we're looking at the third blank. So if you read the text quickly, you understand it is talking about how banks or whatever, how banks were in the ancient world and what was used in the place of money, right? We're looking at the third one. So since we're looking at the third one, we will be underlining. Now this part is what you have to give most focus. The front bit and the end bit on the two sides of the blank. Deposits initially consisted of grain and later other goods including cattle, agricultural implements, and eventually precious blank such as gold in the form of easy to carry compressed plates. And then you have all the four words. The meanings of all the four words are given here for your understanding. Now, when you look at a question also, when you look at the four options, you should be able to tell the meaning of all four in order to pick the correct one. Now, this one we can just cut it out. We can eliminate it. Options dwell from this to this to this, right? It says it is talking about something and telling such as gold. So it has to be something, and an example will be gold to that. So can we take jewelries? Jewelries are made from gold, not the material itself. So you can cut that out as well. From materials and metals, what is the most correct one or the most suitable one? Now, materials is just something that you need to make things, but it's specified there in the sentence saying such as gold. So what selects the best, or what gives the best meaning to the line will be metal, because its characteristics describe gold better. So that's how you will be using your knowledge of context to get the answers of these two components: reading and writing fill in the blanks, and reading fill in the blank. Right, so that's about it. Now you can start practicing. You will not have any assignments in reading. It's just you getting your practice done now. Our content is over. We discussed the test format. We went through the marking allocation grid, discussed the priority and why it is like that. And we went to each component, checked how to complete it, and then came back to talk about the main technique to be used to do these two important components. Now, if you have any questions from whatever we discussed, I'm ready to answer, but just a request, if you have a question, please raise your hand. There's this reaction button, so when you click on it, you have the raise hand option. So please raise your hand and I will give you the time to ask your questions. Anything about reading, anything about what I told you today? Any questions? Was everything clear? You can give me a thumbs up if you're not in a place to talk right now. Was everything clear? Did you understand what is expressed, what was expressed? Thank you, Hiranta. I hope, yeah, Nadisha, you have a question. Thank you, Muaz.
Madam, how many questions will be given for each and every component?
So that was explained in the marking, that was explained in the marking grid, Nadisha. Let me share the PET Labs tool again. So here, if you go to classroom materials, this will be allocated to you under speaking, read aloud. Not right away, within today, it will be allocated to you. So if you go to marking allocation grid, you can see for reading and writing, fill in the blanks, this many questions. This much. Reorder this much. Can you see, Nadisha? This is how much you will get. Clear?
Okay, madam. I will get a screenshot.
Yes, you can get a screenshot as well, but this will be allocated to your tool as well. Once you log in, this will be there within 24 hours of time. All right, anybody else with any other questions?
Excuse me, madam, this is Lahiro.
Yeah, Lahiru, tell me.
Uh, I have a notice regarding the use of PT AI tool. So, can you give some brief whether it should be move from this existing portal to AI portal, or what's the difference, and how to continue with practice?
All right, okay. So what you have to basically do is to access that, you can go type ptlabs.ai, and then you get to this one. This is the PET Labs Pro product that we gave. This is you get the PET Lab, this one for free, right, when you register, but this you don't get like that. This is going as a subscription basis one. So you can install this, and once you install it, you will have this starter lifetime pack, the free one, right? But if you want to upgrade, you can go to either 30 days, 60 days, or 90 days based on what you get. So read what you get under each, right? For lifetime, you have some limitations because it's the free package. For the others, you have everything unlimited. You have question practice over here. All the questions, all the speaking ones, all the writing ones, and summarized spoken text will be AI tested. Now in PT2, you submit them as assignments to the teacher because in the tool itself, it is not possible to get a score or a feedback. But in PT Labs Pro, you can practice and then get an AI generated response. You have mock exams as well, all these. Once you get a subscription, all these for free with unlimited attempts. Your test will be marked, given a score report with a detailed feedback as well as to where it went wrong. So if you go to reading, of course, you go to reading and writing, fill in the blanks. The question number is increased as well. In PT2, you had only 660 something. Now in here, it's 1000. So you can practice this. PT Labs Pro has an extended amount of questions, and all the speaking, writing, and SST is AI tested. So that's the difference. So you can check your answers yourself and get an idea. Whereas in PT2, you have to submit assignments and wait for the teacher's review. That's the difference, Lahidu. Clear?
Thank you. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, no problem. Any other questions? Okay, I'm gonna assume that there aren't any questions since everybody's silent. So thank you for joining the session. It's an early morning session, but you all joined and been cooperative. So thank you very much. I'll see you guys in other sessions. Have a good day, everybody. Thank you for joining. Take care. Bye.
Have a good day.